What's going on, people? I'm TheRealMossi and this is a Battlefield 3 console review. Let me reiterate, console, not PC. Let's get started. It's no secret that Battlefield 3 has been one of the most anticipated video games of 2011, and I'm sure you guys know that I've been looking forward to the release date since I saw that very first trailer. Does Battlefield 3 live up to the hype? We'll find out. I'll be reviewing the single player and multiplayer separately since they really are two entirely different beasts. This is the review of the single player campaign. Check the top right corner of the screen for a link to the multiplayer review. A few words came to mind when I was playing through the single player campaign. Underwhelming and familiar were the two most prevalent. Let's start with the graphics. When I played the multiplayer beta, I wasn't blown away by the graphics, but I told myself, this is just a beta and it's just multiplayer. The campaign and the finished product will look badass. Sadly, this is not the case, but for the most part, the game does look very good. But there are many issues with the technical aspects of the graphics and lighting. Even with the HD upgrade patch, the textures of a lot of objects look faded or even slightly pixelated when you get up close. There's a massive issue of pop-in. A lot of textures and even entire set pieces or objects in the game pop in only when you get close enough. That would be a minor gripe if they actually popped in when they were supposed to. Sometimes they fail to pop in entirely, so you're left looking at open space or an object without enough texturing, making it look like you're playing a PS2 game. This is also true for light beams, especially light beams from vehicle headlights and weapon tactical lights. Sometimes they just won't show up until you get close enough, or other times they just won't show up at all. Thankfully this is relatively rare, but it has happened to me a few times. The character faces in the game are not very impressive. The quality of the facial graphics does not match the quality of the environment. The faces look a little cartoony, the shadows are off, and the in-game lip syncing is horrible. Now they do have some pre-rendered cutscenes for the main narrative, and the faces and lip syncing in those are excellent. I just wish that would have translated better into the actual in-game facial models. Let's move on to the audio, and I think this is the redeeming factor here. The audio in this game is stellar, some of the best I've heard in any game. It's not just the intensity but the sheer detail that went into the engineering of this audio. Having said that, I do have a minor gripe. Vehicles sound a lot closer than they really are, so you'd hear a tank come in and get ready to hide, but when you get up and take a look, the tank's still a block away. This is not a huge deal though. What is a huge deal in a campaign is the story and, more importantly, the gameplay. Let's start with the story. I'm reluctant to say this, but there's no denying that this campaign story is almost a carbon copy of the Call of Duty Modern Warfare storyline in many instances. There's a generic Russian and a generic Arab who want to do bad things to people, and Team America saves the day. That'd be fine if they actually managed to come up with a way to make it entertaining. Frankly, I think the Modern Warfare series does a better job of telling an entertaining and exciting story, regardless how generic it might be. The pacing of the story in Battlefield 3 is too slow at times. It doesn't keep you interested. The characters aren't developed enough for you to actually care about them. Exciting cinematic events are few and far between, and when big things do happen, they're not executed in a memorable way. You don't really get to see the magnitude or the actual emotional impact that many of the big events in the story should have. I, for one, enjoy the comedic storyline of the Battlefield Bad Company games. They were cheesy and unrealistic at times, but they were entertaining. But DICE chose to take a more serious route with Battlefield 3, and unfortunately, it didn't serve them too well here. Let's move on to the gameplay. The gameplay for the most part is solid, and as linear as it gets. You're being led by the nose through the whole way. You're either following someone or making your way to a designated spot to meet up with someone, and on your way there you'll run into generic enemy soldiers with ski masks and bad Russian accents. The enemies are unrelenting at times, especially when you play the campaign on hard. But at other times they're just complete idiots. If you're in front of an enemy, he'll destroy you, but if you manage to flank and get behind him, he doesn't realize you exist. Even if you shoot him in the back a couple of times, he'll be focused on what's in front of him. Destructibility, the calling card of Battlefield campaign since Battlefield Bad Company, is very minimal and tightly scripted in this campaign. The destructible elements are few and far between, and you can't just go up to any wall, shoot a rocket at it, and expect there to be a smoldering hole where the wall should be. This isn't even possible when you shoot at a wall with a tank's main cannon, which is disappointing. Vehicular combat is also surprisingly rare in Battlefield 3's campaign. The only thing you really get to control is a tank. I wanted to fly a damn jet, goddammit, but all I got was to sit in the back and shoot. Despite these issues, the campaign is still enjoyable at times, but it feels like a throwaway that's been rushed into completion. One more month in development would have given DICE enough time to add some polish and provide us with a campaign worthy of the Battlefield name. But it's been rushed to beat the competition out of the gates, and it really shows. As such, I'd have to give the campaign portion of Battlefield 3 for the consoles a 7 out of 10. For the multiplayer review, please click the link in the top right corner. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I'm TheRealMossi. Tell your friends about me.